Discovered by explorers 200 years ago, Antarctica remains one of the least explored places on Earth. Home to the coldest temperatures, icebergs the size of cities, and ancient bacteria frozen in ice, this continent holds many more surprises. The first person to lay eyes on Antarctica's shores was British sailor Edward Bransfield on January 30th, 1820. However, the first people to set foot on the continent were American whalers from the ship Cecilia on February 7, 1821, just a year after the expeditions of Bellingshausen and Bransfield. Antarctica is the driest continent on Earth. The driest place in Antarctica is the valleys near McMurdo Sound. Covering an area of about 8,000 square kilometers, these ice-free valleys haven't seen rain in over 2 million years. There's a massive meteorite crater hidden under the ice. Located beneath the ice sheet in Wilkes Land, this crater was first detected between 1958 and 1960 due to unusual gravitational anomalies. Further research revealed that the crater spans an incredible 480 kilometers in diameter. Scientists believe that about 250 million years ago, a meteorite about 50 kilometers wide struck this region. According to one theory, the dust from the impact triggered a long-lasting global cooling event, leading to the mass extinction of many plant and animal species. And an active volcano. It may be surprising, but one of the world's most active volcanoes, Mount Erebus, is located in the coldest region on Earth. Rising 3,794 meters high, Erebus constantly spews lava, fire, and smoke. At its base, there's a rare phenomenon, an unfrozen lava lake that remains molten despite the extreme cold. But Erebus isn't alone. Scientists have recently discovered a hidden volcanic range beneath the ice, with 91 volcanoes spread across the continent. You can see mesmerizing nacreous clouds. Sometimes, the Antarctic sky is adorned with breathtaking iridescent clouds that shimmer in multiple colors. These rare formations, also known as nacreous clouds, create an unforgettable spectacle. Not all of Antarctica is covered in ice. When you think of Antarctica, you probably imagine an endless frozen wasteland. While that's mostly true, there are exceptions. The McMurdo Dry Valleys are vast, ice-free areas where the sun always shines and no rain or snow has fallen for millions of years. Even in summer, temperatures here rarely rise above 0 degrees Celsius, averaging around -14 degrees Celsius. Harsh winds reaching speeds of up to 320 kilometers per hour cause moisture to evaporate, leaving the valleys completely dry, without ice or snow. Only 2 flowering plants grow in Antarctica. Despite its harsh climate, Antarctica is home to 2 species of flowering plants: Antarctic pearlwort, which grows up to 5 centimeters tall, and Antarctic hairgrass, reaching heights of up to 20 centimeters. Alongside these hardy plants, the continent also supports mosses, lichens, microscopic fungi, and algae. There are hidden lakes beneath the ice. Beneath Antarctica's glaciers lie 140 subglacial lakes that have been isolated from the outside world for millions of years. This means that the microorganisms in these lakes have evolved independently from life on the rest of the planet. Scientists are convinced that life exists in these waters, as they contain all the necessary conditions for survival. Antarctic ice can be colorful. Ice in Antarctica isn't always just white. It can appear in shades of green, blue, red, or even black, depending on the freezing conditions and the presence of impurities. Near volcanoes, ice turns black due to ash. Icebergs formed near rivers may be yellow or brown due to clay deposits. Areas rich in plankton and bacteria can produce yellow, red, or pink ice. Young ice that freezes in calm conditions often appears in brilliant shades of blue or deep navy. One of the continent's most mysterious sights is Blood Falls, where deep red water cascades out from a glacier. This eerie effect is caused by an underground lake, rich in iron. When the iron-rich water reaches the surface, it reacts with oxygen, turning a deep red, just like rusting metal. This phenomenon takes place in Taylor Glacier, where the trapped lake beneath has been sealed off from light and oxygen for millennia. Antarctica once had palm trees. Believe it or not, 53 million years ago, the coastlines of Antarctica were lined with palm trees, and the interior of the continent had an average temperature of about 20 degrees Celsius. This period, known as the Eocene greenhouse, was caused by a high concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which led to intense global warming. Antarctica is full of wonders, both frozen in time and waiting to be discovered. From breathtaking landscapes to hidden life beneath the ice, this continent is unlike any other place on Earth. Would you dare to explore it? Antarctica is the driest continent on Earth. The driest place in Antarctica is the valleys near McMurdo Sound. Covering an area of about 8,000 square kilometers, these ice-free valleys haven't seen rain in over 2 million years. The coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth. On July 21, 1983, the Russian research station Vostok measured an astonishingly low temperature of -89.2 degrees Celsius, the coldest temperature ever recorded on our planet. Antarctica is home to the southernmost active volcano on Earth. The last recorded eruption occurred in the late 1960s. Antarctica has the most remote bar in the world. Yes, even Antarctica has a bar. Located at the Ukrainian station Akademik Vernadsky, this tiny establishment holds the title of the most remote bar in the world. Antarctica has its own fire station. At the American McMurdo station, there is a fully operational fire station staffed by real firefighters. It's considered the most remote fire station in the world. Antarctica is one of the longest mountain ranges on the planet. The Transantarctic Mountains divide the continent into western and eastern parts, stretching over 3,500 kilometers, making them one of the longest mountain ranges in the world. South of Sanity is the only movie ever completely shot in Antarctica. Released in 2012, this low-budget thriller was directed by Kirk Watson, an alpine specialist working at the Halley Research Station. Though not widely known, it holds a special place in film history. Antarctica is home to the world's largest desert. The Antarctic Desert is twice the size of the Sahara. Despite all the ice and snow, this environment is classified as a polar desert because it receives very little precipitation. Antarctica holds 90% of the planet's ice and 75% of the world's fresh water. Beneath all that ice lies rock and soil, making the continent twice the size of Australia. Some icebergs here are absolutely massive. One glacier was measured at 11,000 square kilometers, making it larger than Jamaica. Antarctica is the only continent where no reptiles are found. Since they rely on external heat sources to regulate their body temperature, cold-blooded reptiles cannot survive in Antarctica's freezing climate. So penguins can sleep soundly. There are no snakes here to bother them. Antarctica is truly a land of extremes, where nature continues to surprise and inspire. Would you dare to explore its icy wonders? Antarctica is not just about icebergs and snow-covered landscapes. The continent is also home to breathtaking bays and inlets, which can be explored during a cruise. Whalers Bay was named by British polar explorer Ernest Shackleton in the early 20th century after he spotted numerous whales playing in the waters from his ship. During your cruise, you may also see whales, orcas, and belugas. Nearby, you can find remnants of an old whaling station on Deception Island. Marguerite Bay is located beyond the Antarctic Circle. This area offers pristine landscapes and the opportunity to observe penguins and seals. Port Foster is a volcanic bay. It is situated within the caldera of an active volcano on Deception Island. Due to the presence of hot springs, this bay is considered one of the warmest spots in Antarctica. Paradise Harbor and Nico Harbor are a spectacular world of icebergs and glaciers. In Nico Harbor, you can take a Zodiac boat ride among the icebergs before landing ashore to observe local wildlife, including orcas, whales, and crab-eater seals. While sailing through Paradise Harbor, you will also pass by the Argentinian research station Almirante Brown. Mutton Cove is a perfect spot for wildlife watching. It is home to leopard seals, whitetail seals, Adelie penguins, gentoo penguins, chinstrap penguins, elephant seals, and crab-eater seals. Grillish Strait bays and fjords are some of the best places for whale sightings as whales gather here to feed. Seals are often seen resting on floating ice, while massive penguin colonies populate the nearby coastline. Ever wondered why polar bears don't eat penguins? Unlike the Arctic, Antarctica has no polar bears. After the breakup of the supercontinent Pangaea, no bear species survived in the southern hemisphere, which is why these iconic predators never made it to the South Pole. The name Antarctica means opposite to the Arctic. The name Antarctica comes from the Greek word Antarktikos, which translates to opposite to the Arctic. The Drake Passage is one of the world's most treacherous waterways. Connecting the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, the Drake Passage is one of the most notorious sea routes in the world. Known for its violent storms and powerful winds, it has claimed the lives of countless sailors. The passage is named after Francis Drake, the English explorer whose ships first proved the connection between the two oceans. Before the era of Pangaea, Antarctica was part of the ancient supercontinent Gondwana, a massive supercontinent that included present-day South America, Africa, the Arabian Peninsula, Madagascar, India, and Australia. Antarctica is the only continent without permanent human settlements. The people who live there, mainly scientists, stay for only 3 to 6 months at a time for research purposes. On January 20th, 1979, the first ever baby was born in Antarctica, Emilio Marcos Pana. This was part of Argentina's strategy to stake a territorial claim in Antarctica. The government intentionally sent a pregnant woman to give birth at the Esperanza research station, making her son the first human officially born on the continent. A total of 11 children have been born in Antarctica. As part of a territorial rivalry between Argentina and Chile, both countries sent pregnant women to give birth at their polar stations. However, their efforts were ultimately in vain, as the Antarctic Treaty prevents any country from claiming sovereignty over the continent. Antarctica was unknown to humanity until 1820. For most of human history, the existence of Antarctica was completely unknown. It wasn't until 1820 that explorers finally sighted the continent. Antarctica has a mountain range named after a woman. Near the Lemaire Channel, there's a unique mountain formation with 2 peaks known as Unistits, named after a female expedition member who worked in the region. Antarctic fish have natural antifreeze in their blood. To survive in the freezing waters of Antarctica, certain fish species produce special antifreeze proteins that prevent their blood from freezing. An incredible adaptation to one of the harshest environments on Earth. Antarctica remains a land full of mysteries, extreme conditions, and surprising discoveries. Would you like to visit this frozen wonderland? 11 children were intentionally born in Antarctica, as part of a territorial rivalry between Argentina and Chile. Both countries sent pregnant women to give birth at their polar stations in an attempt to claim sovereignty. However, their efforts were ultimately futile, as the Antarctic Treaty prevents any country from claiming the continent. Antarctica Day is celebrated every year on December 1st. This annual celebration marks the signing of the Antarctic Treaty, which established the continent as a peaceful, internationally governed region. The Antarctic Treaty was signed in 1959. In 1959, 12 nations signed the Antarctic Treaty in Washington, D.C. The agreement ensures that Antarctica is used only for peaceful purposes, strictly prohibiting the establishment of military bases and the testing of weapons, except for scientific research involving military equipment. There are 70 active research stations spread across Antarctica. The largest station, McMurdo, can accommodate over 1,000 people. Built by the United States in 1955, McMurdo serves as both a research hub and a logistics center for the U.S. Antarctic program. There was once a nuclear reactor in Antarctica. The McMurdo station, operated by the United States, once housed a nuclear reactor. However, in 1972, cracks were discovered in the reactor's structure, leading to its shutdown. Following this, Antarctica was declared a nuclear-free zone, and no further development of nuclear technology has been allowed on the continent. Antarctica has no official time zones. Technically, Antarctica spans all time zones since it sits at the South Pole. However, because the continent is mostly uninhabited and governed by multiple nations, there are no officially assigned time zones. Instead, research stations operate on the time zone of their home country or the closest neighboring country. For example, many stations follow Chilean time. Doctors stationed at Australian Antarctic research bases during winter must undergo and remove their appendix before deployment. Since each station typically has only one doctor, they cannot risk an emergency situation requiring surgery in a place where evacuation is nearly impossible. With an area of 14 million square kilometers, Antarctica is the 5th largest continent on Earth. There are no polar bears in Antarctica. Unlike the Arctic, Antarctica has no polar bears. The reason? The continent lacks large expanses of floating sea ice with open water areas, meaning polar bears wouldn't be able to hunt or survive. Due to the extreme cold, sharks cannot live in Antarctic waters. However, one exception existed in prehistoric times. Scientists discovered fossilized teeth of the extinct Atlantic sand tiger shark Striatomia macarota on Seymour Island. one of the few ice-free regions of Antarctica. Antarctica remains a model of international cooperation, a land of scientific discovery, and a place where nature rules with icy precision. Would you like to experience its breathtaking beauty firsthand? Not long ago, traveling to the coldest and most remote continent was limited to scientific expeditions, and only the most daring adventurers would attempt to go there alone. However, the mystical allure of Antarctica, with its frozen landscapes and untouched wildlife, has always fascinated travelers. The sight of snow-covered expanses, towering icebergs, playful penguins, seals, and soaring albatrosses has fueled an intense curiosity, leading to the rise of tourism at the South Pole. The first commercial tours to Antarctica began in the 1990s, but back then they were rare and extremely expensive. In the 2000s, Antarctic tourism experienced a real boom as more people sought to explore this unique and icy wilderness. Antarctic cruises, the classic way to explore. Most Antarctic cruises start from ports in countries such as Argentina, Uruguay, Chile, or South Africa, before sailing along the Antarctic coastline and nearby islands. Along the way, travelers can expect to see glistening icebergs, majestic albatrosses, playful penguins, snowy landscapes, and enjoy exciting shore landings. For the most adventurous, polar plunges into the icy Antarctic waters are also available. Express tours, a fast-paced adventure. A traditional Antarctica trip takes between 11 to 24 days, mainly because travelers must cross the Drake Passage. A 2-day sea journey between South America and Antarctica. However, if you're short on time, there's an express option. Travelers can fly to Antarctica and reach their destination much faster. A 6-day tour, including flights, is ideal for thrill seekers. The trip includes a night south of the Antarctic Circle in heated tents and another night at the South Pole, deep in Antarctica's vast, snowy wilderness. Planes transport visitors to all key locations, so no long treks through deep snow are required, due to the high cost of aircraft rentals and fuel. Express tours are significantly more expensive than standard Antarctic cruises. Antarctica is no longer a destination reserved for scientists and extreme explorers. Now, adventurous travelers from around the world can experience its breathtaking beauty firsthand. Would you take on this once-in-a-lifetime journey? Antarctica is full of surprises. The white continent is famous for its untouched beauty and surreal glacial landscapes. However, as one of the most unique places on Earth, this region holds many unexpected wonders. Here are 10 fascinating facts you probably didn't know about Antarctica. No two visits to Antarctica are ever the same. Every month in Antarctica offers a different experience. November marks the beginning of summer. Icebergs are at their largest, and birds begin their courtship and mating rituals. December is when penguins lay their eggs. Late December and January bring hatching season, with fluffy chicks emerging. February and March see the return of whales in large numbers. The continent is closed to visitors for the rest of the year due to extreme darkness and temperatures too harsh for humans to endure. There are 300 ice-free lakes. It might seem impossible for freshwater lakes to exist in Antarctica's freezing climate, but there are around 300 lakes on the continent. How? These lakes are underground and remain in liquid form due to heat from the Earth's core, keeping them above 0 degrees Celsius. Antarctica has a Chilean village. There is a civilian settlement in Antarctica that also serves as a research station. The charmingly named Villa Las Estrellas City of Stars. Located on an island 120 kilometers off the peninsula, this small town is home to 150 people in summer and 80 in winter. It even has a primary school, a gym, a post office, and a first aid hospital. It's not always freezing in Antarctica. You might assume that Antarctica is unbearably cold all year, but cruise ships visit between November and March during the Antarctic summer, when conditions are relatively mild. On the Antarctic Peninsula, temperatures range from -2 degrees Celsius to 2 degrees Celsius. However, venturing further south during winter requires serious preparation. The lowest temperature ever recorded was -92 degrees Celsius in 2010. Antarctica is the largest desert on Earth. A desert is defined as a place that receives less than 254 millimeters of precipitation per year. Antarctica averages less than 50 millimeters annually. Some areas of the continent haven't seen rain or snow for over 2 million years. As the driest continent in the world, Antarctica is officially the largest desert on the planet, even drier than the Sahara. Antarctica has extreme light and darkness cycles. From October to March, polar summer brings continuous daylight. The sun never sets. From April to September, polar winter brings months of darkness, with no sunrise for half the year. Antarctica is home to the world's southernmost active volcano on Earth, Mount Erebus. This volcano regularly erupts, and its lava lake remains molten despite the extreme cold. One of Antarctica's strangest natural wonders is Blood Falls, a red-colored waterfall that looks like it's bleeding from the ice. The eerie color comes from iron-rich water that oxidizes when exposed to air. Sharks cannot survive here, but Antarctic fish have antifreeze proteins. No sharks can survive in Antarctica's icy waters. It's simply too cold for them. However, Antarctic fish have evolved a fascinating adaptation: antifreeze proteins in their blood that prevent them from freezing. The Drake Passage has the tallest ocean waves in the world. Crossing the Drake Passage, the waterway between South America and Antarctica, is an unforgettable experience. This area is home to the tallest ocean waves in the world, reaching incredible heights due to strong winds and powerful ocean currents. Antarctica is one of the most breathtaking, mysterious, and extreme destinations on Earth. Would you dare to explore its icy landscapes? When planning a trip to Antarctica, it's important to consider its geographical location. Antarctica is located in the southern hemisphere, meaning that when it's summer in the northern hemisphere, it's winter there. The continent experiences polar day and polar night. Since the main goal of visiting Antarctica is to admire landscapes and observe wildlife, traveling during polar night is pointless, as it is not only dark but also extremely cold and dangerous. There are 3 main travel seasons in Antarctica: October through November. The beginning of Antarctic spring. The first Antarctic cruises of the season are organized in mid-autumn. During this time, Antarctica enters spring. However, ships cannot yet access small bays due to lingering sea ice. Weather remains unstable, making navigation more challenging. Penguins begin their courtship season, providing an amusing and fascinating spectacle for visitors. The main reason to visit Antarctica in October or November is to witness penguin mating rituals and take stunning photographs of icebergs. The presence of both day and night during this season creates magical lighting conditions for photography. December through January, the peak of Antarctic summer. During midsummer, the sun never sets, continuously illuminating icebergs and snowy landscapes. Penguins are actively feeding their chicks, making it an ideal time to observe baby penguins. New Year's cruises and expeditions are particularly popular during this period. The South Pole is at its warmest, allowing for overnight camping trips in heated tents. This is the most popular time to visit Antarctica, offering the best weather conditions and wildlife encounters. February through March, the end of the Antarctic travel season. As summer transitions to autumn, the Antarctic cruise season comes to an end. The sun gradually fades, but this does not affect the spectacular wildlife viewing. Seals, fully grown penguin chicks, and pods of whales can still be seen in abundance. For those who enjoy whale watching, February and March are the best months to visit Antarctica before the travel season officially closes. No matter the season, Antarctica promises breathtaking landscapes and unforgettable wildlife encounters. Would you choose to explore its icy wonders? A cruise offers the unique opportunity to celebrate New Year's aboard a luxurious yacht, surrounded by pristine nature under the bright sun that never sets. Since it is polar summer in Antarctica while the northern hemisphere experiences winter, the continent enjoys 24 hours of daylight. A New Year trip to Antarctica includes not only the cruise itself but also numerous shore landings for expeditions to fascinating locations, wildlife encounters, and breathtaking scenery. Passengers can observe penguins, leopard seals resting peacefully on ice floes, whales, and fur seals in their natural habitat. Most journeys to Antarctica pass through the Drake Passage, one of the most notorious stretches of ocean in the world. This passage is known for its powerful winds and constantly turbulent waters, where the southern parts of the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans meet. The stormy conditions here are caused by the mighty Antarctic circumpolar current, which flows through this passage, creating some of the wildest seas on the planet. It's essential to bring seasickness medication to prepare for the unpredictable waves. Another fascinating phenomenon that awaits travelers in the Drake Passage is the vast number of albatrosses. Within minutes, the number of these majestic birds around the ship can increase to several thousand. A guide on board will explain why this spectacular event occurs. Spending New Year's Eve in Antarctica is a once-in-a-lifetime experience that combines luxury, adventure, and breathtaking nature. Would you celebrate the New Year at the edge of the world? Preparing for an Antarctic cruise requires knowing what conditions and regulations to expect. Landings are restricted. Only ships with a maximum of 200 passengers are allowed to land. If you book a cruise on a larger ship, expect either a route focused on the Antarctic islands or a cruise-only experience, without landings. The Drake Passage is known for some of the highest ocean waves, so be sure to bring seasickness medication. The Drake Passage crossing takes about 2 days, but if waves are too high, your cruise might be delayed by a day. Plan accordingly. If weather conditions do not allow for a safe exit from Antarctica, the ship may leave early and wait in the fjords. Antarctica's weather is highly unpredictable. Expedition cruises do not follow fixed routes. Your itinerary will depend on weather conditions and ice levels, requiring flexibility. Most cruises offer 2 landings daily, except on Drake Passage crossing days. One landing is on the continent, and the other is a Zodiac boat excursion, but both depend on weather conditions. There are no ports in Antarctica. All landings are done via Zodiac boats, which rock on the waves. Make sure to assess your physical capabilities beforehand. There are no medical facilities for emergencies or evacuations. Assess your physical health before booking. Antarctica has the driest climate on Earth. Bring moisturizers for your skin and lips to protect against extreme dryness. Everything shines in Antarctica. Bright sunlight reflects off the ice, so do not forget sunglasses. Strict disinfection procedures are in place. You will have to disinfect your boots after each landing. Since regular footwear cannot withstand this, special boots will be provided on board.